Welcome to Thrivers Ed, the podcast that's all about giving you the practical, no-nonsense advice you need to level up your life and business. I'm your host, Marcy Rossi, success coach, business strategist, and alcohol-free enthusiast. If you're ready to crush your goals, optimize your productivity, and live your best, most authentic life, then you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into topics like the psychology of success, practical strategies to boost your performance, and the unexpected ways living alcohol-free can elevate your life. Whether you're looking to boost your business, improve your health, or simply become a better version of yourself, Thrivers Ed is here to help you do just that. So grab your iced coffee, buckle up, and let's get thriving. Welcome back to another episode of Thrivers Ed. As I'm recording this, we are in day 2 of the Automagic Summit, and I wanted to just give you some updates, pull back the curtain a bit, and tell you where I'm at now and how we got there, to give you some tips, especially if you've ever been thinking of creating your own summit. So if you haven't heard, if you've been living under a rock, I feel like I've been saying it like all day, every day, but I am running a summit. I've decided to create a summit to really help people build the systems and the automations that are going to support their business so that they have more free time to go live their lives on the back end, and so their business can actually grow and scale. And I did this from scratch while juggling private clients, while bouncing around Europe for about 3 weeks. So I want to talk about how it went. Basically, what worked, what I would change for next time, and really just the truth of what it looks like to build a summit for the first time. So first off, I want to say that building a summit or hosting a summit is not for the faint of heart. It is a lot of work. You've got a ton of decisions to make all of the time. There's a lot of tech, a lot of setup, and you're coordinating a bunch of different pieces and people. So it's really something that you have to be committed to and not something that you can just kind of jump into last minute. We're not just going to send out an email to a bunch of speakers and hope the whole thing works. It's a machine, basically, right? You've got the email sequences and setting up your VIP pass and all of the different prices that are offered for that at the different times of the summit funnel, and your speaker materials and the assets that you need to get from them, and creating promotions and just the full experience for the customers, right? That's just the stuff that you're building, but we want to make sure that it's a pleasant and valuable experience for the attendees that are coming. So doing all of this by yourself is possible. It really depends on how many hours you have available in your day, but you can do it by yourself. Would I recommend that? No. Again, it is a lot of work, even if you just have someone to help you build the pages or to review the pages or to create the promo materials. We'll go through some of those different pieces there, but doing all yourself is a ton of work. I personally spent a lot more time than I was expecting, and having people that you can rely on to take off some of that work is really the only way you can function, assuming you have other things going on, right? If you have no other clients, you're not doing any other marketing, yeah, you can probably easily manage this on your own. But I'm assuming that there are other things that you want to spend your time on, and that's where having support can help. So things that I've learned, these aren't really in any particular order. They're just the stuff that I was kind of noting. So the first is that part of how a summit works is that everybody that's in it promotes. So the host is going to do their own promos, and all the speakers are going to bring their audience. And that is how you can get in front of a large number of people quite easily, assuming all these speakers have, decent size audience. But not everybody is going to promote. And that's just the name of the game. That's just how things work. Some of the speakers went above and beyond and were pulling in a ton of VIP sales and brought in far more leads than anybody else, despite not having a significantly larger audience. And some people didn't do a darn thing, right? It's very obvious. I made my speakers confirm that they would promote at least twice with one email and one social media. And I've been in summits before where you have to upload the proof. They wanted to see the email that you sent. They wanted screenshots of all of the social posts. And that was just it was really annoying to me. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm personally going to do something. But there are people out there that say they're going to do something and then don't do that thing, right? And that's what I experienced for a very small percentage of the speakers. Now, one of the speakers that I brought on didn't really have a large audience, and she was up front when she applied, but she still promoted. I could see that she promoted. So I wasn't checking up on these people. But if you have a large audience and not a single click to the page using your affiliate link, then you probably didn't do what you said you were going to do, what you agreed to do, and what you contractually are obligated to do, right? And so part of me wanted to be a little petty and be like, well, if you're not going to promote, I'm going to pull your lead magnet link off of your speaker page and just host your video instead of promoting all of the different ways people can connect with you. Just to be honest, to be completely transparent, that's how I felt initially. I had this little like, well, if you're not going to do it, then I'm not going to do it. Because honestly, it's not fair. It's not fair to rely on all of the other speakers to bring people in if you're not going to do what you say you're going to do. But I ended up just leaving it. Like, there is value in, hopefully there's value in the things that they are promoting on the other end. I don't know what's going on in people's lives. I had a speaker who was originally signed up and then she just ghosted me. Like, we were getting down to presentations due and I have not heard a single thing from her, and it's been over a month. I've checked in multiple times, and she's also not active on social media. I don't know if she normally is, but she definitely hasn't posted anything recently. And so, things can be going on in people's lives. So I was like, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. I toned down that little like fair justness monster that I have inside of me and just was like, let it go. Most people did what they're supposed to do. And if the audience will find value in the freebies and the offers that these people have, then by all means, let them know about it. So for this, part of it is choosing the right speakers. One of the speakers that I chose, I was in another summit with, and I know that she actually didn't promote in that summit either. So part of it is making sure that the people you're selecting are the people that are going to come in with integrity and do what they say they're going to do, and making it really easy for them, right? I made a a custom GPT that could create promos for people. I was doing my own promo all the time and tagging them, on Instagram stories the day that they're live, writing emails, like make it really easy for people, and they're more likely to say yes. And also just be aware that not everybody's going to do that, and you have to decide if that's something that you want to accept going forward. Now, why am I belaboring all of this? Well, some of these people didn't promote. And again, we're talking 1 to 2 people in the entire scheme of things. So very, very small numbers. But the reason I'm drilling on this and saying it's so important is because this is where the majority of the leads are going to come from. So I decided to do Facebook ads to support bringing people in, right? As the host of this, I get the most value. So it's only fair that I put in the most effort to bring people in. And guess what? Facebook ads are still expensive. At one point I was getting leads for like $10 a lead. And mind you, in 2023, I was getting people on my email list for $1.20 a lead. So 10 times worse than it's ever been for me. And eventually I did get that down to like $4 to $6 a lead, probably around $5 by the end. But here's the thing, I can see who is landing on the pages. And yes, so the people that I'm paying $5 a lead for, obviously they're only a lead if they actually converted, but the conversion rate of those Facebook ads was much, much lower than the people that were visiting from my speakers or even from my own audience that I was sending to the summit, because a good chunk of my audience signed up for the summit as well, right? They already know me, they know the kind of value I provide, and this is just like 25xing that with a whole bunch of other people, right? So your audience coming a completely cold audience, they're just not going to convert as well. And you're paying for that experience, right? So I don't have the exact numbers of the conversion rates here, but the leads that came from speakers, whether that's myself or any of the other speakers in there, those people converted at least 10% better than the cold traffic I was getting from Facebook ads. Now, if there's 1,000 people hitting that page, that's 100 more people that are going to sign up for your event. And with an 8% VIP conversion rate, which is about what I'm sitting at right now, we'll see if as some of the sessions expire, if that changes for people. But generally, let's say it's 8%, that's 8 extra sales of your VIP pass. And that really adds up. In this, just recognizing that Facebook ads feel like an easy way to go, right? It's definitely not set and forget it though. It's something that you have to constantly be managing and adjusting. You have to make sure that you're getting in front of the right audience. You have to have the right creative and the right copy. And it could be that I just had a really poorly selected audience. But if I'm trying to target coaches and similar online service providers, and they're not signing up for the event, but they are when someone else is, that just shows the value of trust, right? This cold traffic knows nothing about me, but the ones that the speakers are sending or that I am sending, they're at least familiar with someone in the event. And so they get to leverage that trust and are more likely to convert. So if I were going to do this again, I would probably run Facebook ads again, simply because it's just another way to get eyeballs on the screen. But I would probably hire someone to manage them for me. There were definitely results, but results at a higher rate than I would like. And also it's just a pain to try to move things around and change the images and redo things. I'd rather just outsource all of that. So up next, I had my own sessions in the summit. So we had 25 speakers, and then I recorded 2 sessions of my own so that we would have 3 featured videos throughout the summit. And honestly, they're not the most popular videos that are there in the summit. I did not give them the attention that they truly deserved, because between building everything, managing the tech, traveling for 3 weeks, serving my private clients, I was stretched. So I had some things I could teach on, but honestly, the energy wasn't there, the excitement wasn't there, the creativity wasn't there. So they're valuable sessions. I fully believe that, but they're just not the most popular by far. But at the same time, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. This event is not all about me. When the speakers win, I win, right? If they're getting more visibility, if the focus is on them, that makes them more likely to promote the event, more likely to recommend me, and maybe want to collaborate later. So I think it's not terrible that the focus has not been on me. I don't want the whole event to be about me. Otherwise, why even host a summit? I'll just host a workshop. But it could have been something that I have devoted more time to. And, the bonus on this is that the feedback from the attendees for these speakers events, no, I haven't seen any feedback on my own, but we'll see. But right now, the feedback has been incredible. They're so excited. They've been learning a lot, and I can't wait to share these with the speakers. Next, we had a small tech glitch on day 1. The email was scheduled to go out at 8. It actually hit inboxes around 8:20. So it was going to go out the second that the summit was live. And of course, that took 20 extra minutes. It was a server overload, I guess. It really depends on how many people are sending emails to inboxes at that exact moment. And there may have just been a lot of people emailing on a Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. So that was a small glitch that I was not super thrilled about. But part of this is making sure that you have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, right? So when I saw 10 minutes, 15 minutes in that it still wasn't sending, I was hopping over into System, which is where the course is actually hosted, to see if I could replicate that email and send it out to everybody that way. It would be running the risk that they would get both emails in their inbox, that I'd rather them have 2 emails than 0 emails. So I had a plan ready to go. This was actually not one that I was predicting might happen, right? I had plans for if my system completely went down, if system.io completely went down, if none of the video pages could be loaded, I was hosting the video on Sprout Video and I could send everybody the links there, right? That's just one example of the kind of backup plans that I had. But I didn't have one for if MailerLite wouldn't actually send out the email. So my new backup plan is now to just send it out 15 minutes early. Everybody's getting all of the content 15 minutes early. And that way, if things go slower than normal, they should still get it at the promised time. And then of course, I extended that first day's video by an hour. They got the links 20 minutes late. They got an extra hour to watch them. So making sure that you have solutions ready to go if and when, stuff hits the fan. Tech will fail. It's inevitable. Tech will fail at some point. Some other things. I tried a Facebook group. I'm not really in Facebook groups. I'm definitely not on social media. And I tried to promote this to get some engagement, to really converse with the attendees and see what they were really excited about. About 20% of the people joined the group, so 20% of the people that registered. And I think part of it is because I have a contest going on with over $3,200 worth of prizes. And one of the ways to join that contest to enter that contest is to join the Facebook group. So I think that really promoted it. As someone, again, who's never really on social, I wasn't sure what to expect. But if a handful of people are getting value from this, then I think it's totally worth it. I get to go get in there and engage with the attendees and provide my own experiences and advice. So is it like a raving success? No. Are there much more engaged Facebook groups in Facebook land? Yeah, probably. But it's just another way for me to share information, right? To send out the links to the Summit dashboard, right? So when my email provider wasn't sending that email, I was able to hop into Facebook and say, by the way, here are the links for today's sessions. Next, so I'm tired, y'all. This was a lot of work. We are halfway through and I am cooked. If you've never hosted an event like this, a big event, a summit, a conference, I don't want you to underestimate the energy cost. I think that it takes a lot of energy. It gives you a lot of energy, but it's also going to drain you, and just planning for that. So I blocked off this entire week to make sure that I had the time to rest and recharge. I don't take client calls on Monday, which tends to be the most energy draining because I'm giving them all of me. So Monday's going to be a nice, easy day as well. I have pampering booked for all day Saturday, going to be at the spa all day. So really trying to rest and recover. and keeping my workload as light as I can during the summit. I was honestly expecting a lot more to do during the summit days, but it was really leading up to it and testing all the tech and getting all of the promotions and the emails and the web pages and all of that stuff created, built, and ready to go. That was the biggest drain. Right now, I'm monitoring the inbox, monitoring Facebook, making sure those last minute pushes get out, and then sending my kind of wrap up messages that are in real time based on kind of what's happening. So yeah, you'll get a big high of like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. But the crash is there. I am crashing 24 hours into a 72-hour event. And just respecting that, that meant yesterday that I was doing diamond dot paintings for like an hour and listening to Crime Junkie instead of sitting at my computer. So giving yourself the space is really, really key. So in terms of what I would probably change for next time, I mentioned this one before, Facebook ads. I would just hand those off to somebody. Assuming that Facebook ads don't continue to increase in price, which has been the trend for at least a year, I would hand them off. Otherwise, it's time to reconsider another means of getting in front of people. I tried LinkedIn ads, spent $100 and didn't get a single lead. I tried Pinterest, same thing. I actually had a lot of visits from Pinterest. Again, no one actually signed up. So Facebook was the only one where I was actually pulling in leads from it, but it's still Facebook at the end of the day, which I really hate supporting with my money. But I have a lot of really great information to share with people. So it's kind of that like, what do I do in this situation? How else can I get in front of people? That might be something I explore. Another thing that I would probably do is hire a copywriter to go through the sales page of both the registration page and the VIP upgrade. I'm not upset about the conversion rates that are there, especially the ones from the warmer traffic, but like there's always room for improvement. And having a conversion copywriter can help dial it up, because even one person, even a small percentage, even if it's only 2% better, 5% better, if someone doesn't sign up, that's a missed lead, that's potentially a missed sale, and that's missed impact, right? I truly believe in the value of this event. And so if people don't sign up, they're missing out on all of that. So having a conversion copywriter can help kind of solve all three of those problems, I believe. And again, I'll probably be a little bit more selective with the speakers. 99% of them were fantastic. A couple were a little bit troublesome. Like I had someone kind of a couple days before the event was going to go live, reach out to me and ask if I was still interested in having them. And this was, we originally had this conversation back in July. So months and months had passed. And I was just like, sorry, I can't do it. I had another person, say that they just saw the email. They wanted to participate. Any chance? I said, yeah, sure. If you can get it to me by Monday. Monday comes and goes and they don't have it. So, some of these things are inevitable, right? There are people that are just not going to miss deadlines, but I'm so impressed with the quality of the sessions that we have, the generosity of these speakers. Like the fact that one person didn't promote it all is so minuscule in the grand scheme of how valuable the experience and the education and the training and the walkthroughs and the et cetera of these incredible speakers. So love them, would love to really ramp this up. Next time I went with 25, I could probably handle a little bit more. Will I repeat this event? I'm not sure. It is a lot of work, and I think that the landscape's always changing and kind of what works. I think Summits really took off several years ago, and it was not that big deal to pull in, thousands and thousands of people and tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales afterward. I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore. When something works, everybody jumps on, and then it gets a little harder. So I would love to see how I could morph this into something a little bit more innovative versus kind of rinse and repeat what everybody else does. Moving on from this, we're now entering the what do I do with these people, right? So we've got all these leads on our list, and this is great if they stick around. So a lot of people that are now on my email list from joining the summit have also signed up for a bunch of freebies from the speakers, which means they're probably getting a ton of emails at this point. So now my job is to figure out how I can stand out from that noise and continue to serve them. My goal is to make sure they're building that trust, getting that know, like, and trust factor built so they really get to know who I am as a person, sharing my value, and help move them along in their business, whatever that looks like. So my goal right now is to figure out a way that I can keep them wanting to stay on my list, not just interested in the summit itself, but really interested in me and what it is that I have to offer. So kind of figuring that out. And this is especially important because I have some major deals that are coming only to my email list next month, some really amazing offers that I'm so excited to share. And so I don't want these people to miss out. I don't want them to bail from my list because they're overwhelmed with all of the emails, but I also don't want to ghost them for 3 weeks and then show back up and be like, hey, remember me from that summit I hosted last month? Like, it's kind of towing that line of making sure that you're staying top of mind without blowing up their inbox when it's going to be blown up right now just from all the other speakers there and their amazing content. So trying to figure out how to toe that line. But to wrap all this up, your Thrive in 5 for today, number one is if you're going to host a summit, make sure you think about how you're going to manage all of the workload. I would highly recommend bringing in at least some kind of support for this because it is a lot more work than you probably think. It was more work than I think. And I am someone who binged every episode of, Summit Host Hangout before jumping into this to make sure I really understood what was going on in the back end. And it's building things like this is part of my business. So even for me, it was a lot of work. Making sure you have all of that support in hand can make it a lot easier for you. Number two is to start with warm audiences. They're going to convert a lot higher and they're going to cost you a lot less money and time and energy. So making sure that you're selecting the right speakers because their warm audiences, your warm audiences are going to create basically the majority of the registrations. Speaking of speakers, up next is to make sure you have clear expectations for speakers, but don't rely on them, right? We can assume that most people will do it, but if your entire premise is this will only work if the speakers promote, you need to have a backup plan because that's just not really a fair or reasonable expectation because the fact of the matter is not everybody will. Next, plan for what you're going to do afterwards, right? You will be exhausted by the end of it, so plan for it. Make sure you have space in your calendar. Make sure you're not taking on a bunch of client calls or client work during Summit Week or right after Summit Week, giving yourself a little bit of space. It doesn't mean spending the day at the spa, but something to allow yourself the time to rest and recover after a busier workload. And then the last one is keeping in mind that the summit is just the start. How you follow up, how you nurture post-event matters just as much. Because if you're just going to pull on 500 or 1,000 names to your list, and then all 500 to 1,000 are going to bail because we're not nurturing them or we're completely ghosting them, it wasn't a great use of your time, right? It was actually a complete waste of your time at that point. So making sure that you have a clear plan for what you're going to do with all these new subscribers once the summit wraps up. So that is it for today. If you have any questions about hosting a summit or whether or not it makes sense for you, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share my experiences. But other than that, until next time, keep thriving.